I breathing? Anywho, I am sorry I am late with this. I put in my posts I'd do this before the year is out. I don't know if this is going to be released before the year is out, but I'm in a hurry to try and get this done. The full cave compendium. This is going to have all including the candy cavity. I'm going to redo the ones I've already done within this segment as well as the ones I haven't done. So, here we go. We start where it all begins, the magnetic cave. I should probably use my mouse for this. Alright, so the magnetic cave. Let's go with introduction. The magnetic caves can be characterized by giant neodymium crystals emerging from a terrain composed of galena, an iron-rich stone. These crystals are where this cave gets its name from, and they come in two varieties, scarlet neodymium and azure neodymium. Scarlet neodymium attracts all metallic objects, such as iron and netherite equipment, whereas azure repels them. It is still unknown how or why this biome has neodymium in vast quantities. Although it has not been without effect on the local area, numerous beings have adapted to this place and called it home. And the caves are littered with odd mining bases created with the purpose of extracting as many minerals from this place as possible. Due to the effects of magnetism on iron and nether equipment, it is best to explore the magnetic caves using non-magnetic armor and tools. Although there are some positives to using metal boots. If worn, they can allow the wearer to walk on any surface of a scarlet neodymium block, including the sides and underneath. The neodymium is not the only resource worth journeying here for. These caves are rich in iron, and the galena they are made from also has its uses. Amongst the crystals of the magnetic caves, Tesla bulbs can also be found. These volatile blocks may look pretty, but their lightning can zap anything that walks near. They can also explode if broken or hit with a projectile. The magnetic caves can take a strange shape of floating galena clusters in a cave itself held up entirely by the latent magnetic powers of the biome. This can make them difficult, albeit interesting to traverse. Let's get it. Resource. Galena is a type of stone with a significant iron composition. It can be crafted into numerous kinds of bricks, pillars, and other blocks, and packed galena. Packed galena can then be smelted to produce a single nugget of iron. Although this requires a great deal of galena to create a single ingot of iron, it exists in such vast quantities in this cave biome that, making it a good alternative to seeking out iron ore. Far more valuable of a resource than galena is neodymium, though. The raw form of both scarlet and azure neodymium can be obtained by breaking both pillars and nodes that make up the giant crystal of this biome. These can be crafted back into the nodes or used to make neodymium ingots. Neodymium ingots have many uses. The azure neodymium ingots can be used to create magnetic levitation rails, which lift any minecarts that rolls over them into the air and moves it faster than any normal rail. The scarlet neodymium ingot crafted into to create seeking arrows, spelling error, which will curve towards any nearby entity they fly past. Neodymium has other powerful uses, but most of these require the remains of powerful beings. Now for the inhabitants. Teletor. The Teletor has 18 hit points with 2 damage on base principle. Alright, this will be a long one. Meditating over the floor of the magnetic caves is the Teletor. Galena-covered beings of dubious origin, although they may seem calm and collected. While doing this, Teletor are extremely hostile. Above their large magnetic heads usually rests an iron tool of some kind. This tool is their main weapon, and they can move it back and forth to deal continuous ranged damage. These tools can be anything from a weak iron hoe to an enchanted iron sword. Using their magnetic meditation powers, Teletor also have the latent ability to fly, although only at slow speed. They can strafe in the air while attacking, making them a danger to any explorers of the magnetic caves. If slain, a Teletor can drop a Telecore with a scarlet or azure neodymium. This makes them a renewable source of these precious minerals, although this comes at a cost. Magnetron. Magnetron has 30 health in principle, but that can rise up to as much as 100 once it builds itself after encountering. Deals 2 damage on base principle, with 6 defense. The Magnetron is an uncommon, powerful being encountered in the magnetic caves. This monster was once a machine created to help extract resources from this place, although the fate of its makers are unknown. Magnetrons keep a deceptive low profile before initiating combat, slowly rolling around on their central heart. However, if an intruder is detected, the Magnetron will begin to form a giant body around itself using nearby blocks. The electromagnetic properties of this monster are fully visible during this process as lightning arcs between each block making up its body. The blocks that make up its new body are important. Magnetrons will favor magnetic blocks over inert ones. If a sawmill or anvil is nearby, these two will be incorporated into the body as weapons and increase the damage dealt by the monster. Once defeated, the Magnetron will fall apart and its many blocks will disperse. But what will also fall down as a block is its heart of iron. Boundroid. Boundroids have 20 health in principle, 5 damage, and a full 20 defense. Yikes. What appears to be one creature is actually a mechanical being composed of 2 separate parts, a head and a walking winch, bound by a chain. This composite creature is known as the Boundroid. Of all the denizens of the magnetic caves, the Boundroid is the one most likely to sneak up on its hapless prey. This being is usually found clinging to the ceiling of the subterranean biome, with its head dragging below on a chain. If a target is spotted, the Boundroid will attempt to clamber to above the target's position and quickly slam down to the ground to deal damage. This attack is strong, but does leave the Boundroid open to attack. If the winch of the Boundroid is shot at while it is on the ceiling, the whole composite creature will fall to the ground, shaking in fear. However, it will quickly attempt to leap back up onto the roof. I think that's meant to be back, not back. Back onto the ceiling. When slain, the Boundroid drops a few of its chains at a heavy weight. Pharaoh Slime. 10 HP per head, 2 damage per head. And I would like to mention that this is an important little notable because a lot of them confuse up. What first appears to be an innocuous slime in the magnetic caves is actually a Pharaoh Slime, a variant of slime that has adapted to this biome's natural ferromagnetic properties. Due to this, the Pharaoh Slime is able to levitate to get around, although it can only move in straight lines on the ordinal axis. Unlike other slimes that simply split when slain, the Pharaoh Slime is able to merge with outer Pharaoh Slimes in order to grow in size and strength. The more heads inside the Pharaoh Slime, the harder it will be to defeat. Once slain, Pharaoh Slimes will split into smaller versions of themselves. They will also drop a Pharaoh Slime ball at the smallest side. Last inhabitant, the Noder. 6 HP, does not attack. The Noder is a strange, hovering, passive creature found in the magnetic caves. Although it cannot attack, they are definitely nuisances in their own right, as the Noders will attempt to scan any foreign beings nearby. Noders will use these scans to build a hologram in order to report back to monsters in this biome about any possible invaders. Any monster witnessing these holograms will instantly know where to focus its aggressive energy on. When killed, noters can drop a noter gizmo, the source of their holographic abilities. Now for the utilities. From neodymium ingots, both azure and scarlet magnets can be crafted. These magnets are very powerful, as azure ones can move magnetic blocks away from them and scarlet ones can attract magnetic blocks to them. A magnet can move up to 27 adjacent blocks at a time, provided they have enough clearance and are all either metallic or connected to metallic blocks by a slime block. These magnets have limited range of usually only a few blocks. This can be incremented by using the respective neodymium ingot on the block, and decreasing by using the opposite ingot. The telecore obtained from a teletor can be used to create a new Tesla bulbs by combining it with energized galena. It can also be used to create a very powerful tool known as the Galena Gauntlet. The Galena Gauntlet can be used in the offhand while a magnetic tool such as one made of iron or netherite is held in the main hand. When used, it will launch the tool forward up to around 20 blocks in distance. From here, the tool will damage any entity it is rammed into, or begin to mine any block if it is the matching kind for the tool. The Gauntlet will slowly lose durability during use, but can be repaired with a telecore. Aside from being used to make the Galena Gauntlet, ferroslime balls can be used to make metal swarf, which can then in turn be smelted into scrap metal. It can also be used to brew a potion of magnetizing, which renders the afflicted with the ability to be pushed or pulled by magnetic forces without wearing metal armor. Noter gizmos can be combined with a teletor and an azure neodymium ingot to make a holocoder. This holocoder can be bound to any entity by using it on them. When placed in a hologram projector, a hologram of the bound entity will be displayed. If the holocoder is unbound, then the holocoder will be shown instead. Noter gizmos can also be combined with an iron ingot to create 4 magnetic lights. The heavy weight obtained from bound droids can be used to create a magnetic quarry smasher. This device is only useful when combined with 4 magnetic lights and the magnetic quarry itself. When a magnetic quarry is placed, the bounds of the area to be automatically mined out by it can be marked by creating a rectangle with 4 magnetic lights behind the magnetic quarry. The block, once lightning is seen darting between all 4 lights, the quarry smasher can be placed inside these bounds to activate the quarry. The quarry will continue to mine out any breakable blocks underneath its designated area, and once smashed, these blocks will be sent flying out of the top of the main magnetic quarry block. Once there are no more blocks to mine, the quarry will become dormant. The magnetron's heart of iron has one more remaining use too. It can be crafted into a resistor shield. The resistor shield can be used as an ordinary shield, except that it creates a magnetic pulse while used that damages nearby foes. The polarity of this pulse can be switched by using the shield and sneaking at the same time. If the azure side is used, the pulse will repel afflict entities, and if the scarlet side is used, it will pull them closer. And that is the magnetic caves. The next cave in line would be the primordial cave. Let's spare no time. Introduction. The primordial caves has been isolated from the rest of the world for untold millennia, perhaps for tens of millions of years. This isolation has led to the limestone-laden caves that have unique geology, flora and fauna that have gone extinct elsewhere in the world ages ago. The subterranean biome is kept well lit by ambersol, a novel form of amber. that illuminates all blocks beneath it. It appears within amber clusters on the ceiling of these massive caves. This illuminating power gives the entire biome a brightness equivalent to daytime on the surface, explaining the lack of monsters and the large prehistoric plants growing in this biome. Chiefly amongst these are the pewin trees that cover the landscape, along with ancient jungle trees, curly ferns, sciads, and flytraps. The ground is covered with moss and grass, and muddy lakes appear across the cave floor. Just because this prehistoric paradise lacks monsters does not make it fully safe to explore, however. Resources. Limestone makes up a majority of the stone of this cave biome. It can be worked into spears that deal low-ranged and melee damage, yet are stackable. Limestone can also be smelted into smooth limestone. If charcoal is used on the smooth limestone, a cave painting can be created. Of tree natives to this biome, pewins are the most common. They also produce pine nuts, which can be eaten. The ancient jungle trees produce tree stars, which are a favorite food of many of the biome's prehistoric denizens. Why did I choke on that? Okay. Subterrarodon inhabitants. 20 HP, 2 attack on base. The Subterrarodon is a large, neutral flying reptile found in roosts on the sides of the primordial caves, or flying through its vast underground hollows. Although its large mouth is lined with spiky teeth, its diet consists mostly of aquatic life. Subterrarodon nests are an occasional sight, emerging on rocky outcrops on pillars. Subterradons can be lured and bred with a cod and will produce one of their eggs, which can also be found in their nests. A subterradon can be tamed by feeding it a few Trylocaris tails. Tamed subterradons can be made to follow, stay, or wander when interacted with while sneaking. To ride a tamed subterradon, simply interact with it. They can only fly upward for a short period while carrying a rider in their feet, thus making frequent landings required. Still, they provide an excellent way to travel within the primordial caves. Volumraptor. 28-32 health. There's a reason that has that one difference. Same damage across, though, at 3. Volumraptors are pack-hunting dinosaurs found commonly within the primordial caves. Even on the prowl, these beasts will attempt to take down big prey big and small, from local golden frogs to even a Grottoceratops, and even the occasional explorer. Attacking in tandem, these fearsome reptiles will leap great distances at their prey, all while others from their pack slash and bite, quickly dealing a large amount of damage in total. All Volumraptor packs are usually led by an elder, denoted by their orange markings and larger stature. Elders are stronger and have decent armor protection as well. If a Volumraptor pack loses its elder in combat, they usually will disperse from battle. Volumraptors communicate with their packs through their calls. Volumraptors can also open doors and chests using their crafty hands. They will steal any meat items from the chests and they can find. If a dinosaur nugget is taken from a chest by a Volumraptor, it may enter a relaxed state after consuming it. During this relaxed state, the Volumraptor can be approached and fed a serene cell in order to tame it. Tamed Volumraptors can be made to follow, stay, or wander, and are indispensable in combat due to their sneaky abilities. If the tamed Volumraptor loses a lot of health in battle, it will enter a stealth mode and rapidly begin to heal, only to re-enter combat once safely recovered. Tamed Volumraptors can be bred with a dinosaur nugget and will lay a clutch of eggs afterwards. Baby Volraps that hatch nearby will imprint on their parents' owners. Grotoceratops. At 50 health and can deal up to 10 damage. Grotoceratops are large, herbivorous dinosaurs that seem to think only ever of eating more plants. These voracious reptiles will gladly ignore almost anything else in their way as long as it does not attack them first. Grotoceratops is the only source of fiddleheads which appear after they pick up and eat a curly fern. If attacked, they will defend themselves by using their large horn to fling attackers in the air or by swinging their spiked tail into their target. Grotoceratops can be bred with a tree star and will lay a single egg afterwards. When slain, Grotoceratops can drop a dinosaur chop and some of its tough hide. Trilocaris. 10 HP, can deal 1 damage. Trilocaris are small prehistoric arthropods that can be found swimming in the many lakes and pools of the primordial caves. They can survive both in and out of water, and will bite if attacked first. They can be captured in a bucket and if killed will drop a Trilocaris tail. Trilocaris are frequent prey for many other denizens of this biome. The Tremorsaurus. This one is no joke, with a staggering 150 HP, 14 damage on principle, and even 8 defense. The Tremorsaurus is the king of all dinosaurs in the primordial caves, where it regularly hunts large prey such as Grotoceratops and Relicharius. The presence of one of these monstrous dinosaurs is indicated by the very earth shaking for every footstep it takes. Water in lakes and cauldrons will also ripple in response. When hunting, the Tremorsaurus will unleash its roar, which will shake every nearby creature and send most of them running. Tremorsaurus can use its deadly bite force to quickly dispatch prey, but can also pick up smaller prey in its jaws and violently shake them for even more damage. Despite its hostile personality, even the Tremorsaurus can be tamed through a difficult process. It must be repeatedly hit with a primitive club in order to stun the beast, then fed serene salad right afterwards. This will wake it up and make it angry, but after enough attempts, the Tremorsaurus will be tamed. Tamed Tremorsaurus can be made to follow, stay, or wander, and can also be ridden. When ridden, they are not quick, yet they'll attack anything aimed at by their rider. A mounted Tremorsaurus can also be made to occasionally roar, which can force entire crowds of enemies to flee in fear. They can be bred once tamed by feeding them dinosaur chops, and will lay a single egg. Baby Tremorsaurus that hatch nearby will imprint on their parents' owners. If slain, a Tremorsaurus will drop some of its meat in the form of dinosaur chops, along with some heavy bones. Relicharius. Also sitting with a lot of health at 120 and 12 damage. The Relicharius is a massive neutral omnivorous dinosaur uncommonly found browsing the pewin trees of the primordial caves. This feathery dinosaur is immensely strong and can deal a lot of damage with its dagger-like claws. They will nibble at any tree leaves within the range of their long necks, and will reach down into pools to gobble up any Trilocaris they can find. One can utilize the natural strength of this dinosaur by feeding it a primordial soup, which will energize it to the point of knocking down almost any nearby tree it can find, all at once. The Relicharius can be bred with a tree star and will produce a single large egg afterwards. When slain, a Relicharius will drop many feathers, a few dinosaur chops, and some heavy bones. These next two mobs were added in the first update between two cave biomes. Keep this in mind. Luxtractosaurus. This is a pure boss. Staggering 600 health, 12 attack base, and a full armor's defense 20. The Luxtractosaurus is a monstrous boss locked deep inside the heart of the volcanoes that appear within the primordial caves. This immense creature is the reason why many dinosaur species that once called the primordial caves home have gone extinct. It is an undead dinosaur that is immune to fire thanks to its soul being trapped in the core of a volcano for countless millennia. To awaken this boss and trigger the eruption, one must toss an ominous catalyst into the top of a volcano. The Luxtractosaurus has an arsenal of powerful attacks. It can rear up and slam with its front legs, smashing entire layers of blocks into nothing. It can also kick forwards with these legs, sending targets flying. When close to a target, it can spin around and use its long tail to fling targets and disable shields. Occasionally, the Luxtractosaurus will roar loudly and channel the power of the volcano itself to aid in its battle. This will make the dinosaur drip lava, and it gains the ability to spew flames, along with making its other attacks even more devastating in this state. The stomp attack of the dinosaur can even expose massive rifts under its target's feet, full of primal magma. If a Luxtractosaurus cannot reach its prey, it can leap great distances or smash blocks in its way. During the entire boss fight, the sky will become red and thick with volcanic ash, and volcanoes will begin to erupt by spewing out flying tephra. This makes the fight even more difficult. In the unlikelihood that the Luxtractosaurus is defeated, it will fade into ash and leave behind multiple tectonic shards. Once this great beast is defeated, the primal magma left behind will begin to recede, and a species of dinosaur previously extinct to the primordial caves will instantly begin to spawn from amber monoliths. The tectonic shards can be used to create the ultimate weapon of the primordial caves, the Extinction Sphere. This spear channels the spirits of the dinosaurs consumed by the eruption long ago. When a target is stabbed with it, the spear of a Tremosaurus will lash out and deal additional damage. When held down, multiple spirits of the Protoceratops will surround the user and block incoming damage. If the spear is thrown and hits a target, a Subsribe spirit will lift it up into the air and drop it. The spear also deals additional explosive damage in an area after launch and will return to its thrower afterwards. That was a lot of pages for one mod. Last inhabitant, Atlattitan. 400 HP, 8 damage. The Atlattitan is the living, non-possessed version of the undead Luxtractosaurus, and only begins to appear in the world after this boss has been slain. Unlike its twisted undead version, this creature is a nocturnal herbivore, seemingly content preening the leaves and pea-wing needles that are plentiful in the primordial caves. Atlattitan is not entirely defenseless, however, and can attack using its powerful tail and quick kick with its spiked front legs. Although it cannot be tamed, the Atlattitan can be fed some serene salad to make it into a temporary mount. When ridden, they have a special ability that enables them to flatten out an entire area by unleashing a powerful stomp. This makes them perfect for terraforming areas to prepare them for building. Like other herbivores, versus dinosaurs, it can be bred with tree stars to produce a single giant egg. Atlattitans draw plenty of heavy bones and dinosaur chops if defeated, although this is rare since they have no natural predators. And now, after all that, finally, utilities. Occasionally, when breaking amber, an amber curiosity can be discovered. These can be used to craft amber monoliths, which can also be seen dotting the primordial caves. Amber monoliths can repopulate the nearby area of animals over the course of a few days. The type of animal spawned depends on any nearby animals and the natural rate of occurrence of that animal. It is possible that the amber monoliths are the reason the primordial caves has stayed for the same for eons. The numerous food items of the primordial caves can be cooked or made straight into different dishes. The serene salad can remove the stun effect when consumed. It can also be used to tame some dinosaurs. The seething stew inflicts the rage effect, which boosts damage depending on how little health is left. If given to other creatures, it can cause them to attack other nearby entities. The primordial soup is an invigorating stew that inflicts haste. If given to a Relichurus, it can start to knock over nearby trees for a short period. The cooked dinosaur chop can also be directly crafted into 12 dinosaur nuggets. With the heavy bone dropped by many larger dinosaurs, the primitive club can be crafted. This weapon is slow and cumbersome to use, but when slammed against a creature, there is a chance to inflict the stunned effect for up to 15 seconds. When stunned, creatures cannot move or melee attack. The heavy bone can also be used with tough hide to craft the primordial helmet, the primordial tunic, and primordial pants. When equipped, this armor set increases the health and saturation provided by consuming raw meat for each piece. And that is everything of the primordial caves. Yep. Catch my breath quickly. Next up, the toxic caves. Introduction. The Toxic Caves is a massive underground wasteland that must have been created by the excesses of scientific herborists in ages long past. All that remains of this is an extremely hostile environment, home to some equally dangerous hazards and monsters. Most of the terrain of the Toxic Caves consists of rad rock, an irradiated variant of stone. This rad rock occasionally bears uranium ore inside it as well, which is also exclusive to this biome in such quantities. Dividing the open spaces of the Toxic Caves are large pits full of acid, a dangerous liquid that can corrode the armor of anything that enters it, before corroding the creature itself. Acid can also create rusty versions of scrap metal blocks when it flows over it. Geothermal vents can be seen rising from these acidic pits, constantly bubbling and spewing out gas. The Toxic Caves also features the occasional sulfur stack, which can grow in size provided there is a block of acidic rad rock dripping onto it. Within the Toxic Caves, numerous ruins of past industrial and atomic progression can be spotted. These often contain loot of some kind, but venturing near them could also expose any adventurer to radiation by picking up any radioactive items, such as a waste drum or uranium rod. Irradiated is a nasty effect that stops all natural healing from occurring while active. Higher levels of this effect also inflict damage at a consistent rate, making it a death sentence if not dealt with quickly. Resources. The uranium ore frequent in this biome can be made into either nuggets or blocks, like other ores. It can also be turned into uranium rods, a new light source. Another common resource in the Toxic Caves is sulfur dust, which can be harvested by breaking large sulfur clusters. It can be used to create food that can heal the consumer even with the irradiated effect active. The green gas bubbling out of the hydrothermal vents above acid can also be bottled into radon gas. This can be used to create large, glowing radon lamps in any color. Cinder bricks can be made out of concrete blocks and can be found in remains littering the toxic caves. They can be made into a variety of decorative industrial blocks, or thrown to break any weak block. Now to the inhabitants. Nucleaper. 40 HP. That damage it has is enough to kill an iron golem raw. I think that's a safe sentence to say you need to kill that thing before it goes off. And 4 armor. The Nucleaper is some form of highly modified creeper with mechanical and atomic enhancements. This poor creature seems to be in a state of constant anguish, just like its normal creeper ancestors. Nucleapers are slower and take much longer to charge up their explosive ability than normal creepers. This begins with the core of the creeper beginning to close, emitting a warning siren and sound and a bright flashing light from its glowing green head. Once the core of the creeper has completely closed, an atomic explosion will appear and devastate the nearby area. For this reason, Nucleapers must be destroyed before they close completely and create an atomic fireball. If slain before it reaches criticality, it can drop some gunpowder and occasionally a fissile core. Radgill, 8 health. Radgill are hideously mutated fish found swimming through the pits of acid in the toxic caves. These 3-eyed fish can occasionally be seen leaping from the acid into the air. I have to put a statement here before I continue this, or as I've seen before, onto land. Radgill can be captured in a bucket of acid, and can also survive in water. If a Radgill is slain, it can drop itself as an item, which can be cooked. Brainiac. 40 health again, 5 damage, 8 armor. The Brainiac is a monstrous mutant made of several zombies and other unknown monsters. Brainiacs are fast, aggressive, strong, and in possession of a large tongue that can whip targets from a distance. Usually, Brainiacs can be found carrying around a waste drum on their backs. When in combat, they can either drink this to heal quickly or use it as a ranged attack to spread acid near their targets. Once nearby, Brainiacs will either smash their target with their arms or use their jaw hand to snap at them. All Brainiac attacks have the chance to inflict the irradiated effect. If slain, a Brainiac can drop rotten flesh and Soylent Green, a new food item that can be drank when inflicted with irradiated to heal. They can also drop a charred men with a mysterious radioactive item. Gamma Roach. 14 HP, 2 damage. The Gamma Roach is a gigantic radioactive cockroach found scuttling around the toxic caves. Although these arthropods are initially neutral, they will attack anything that is irradiated within their sight. When injured, the Gamma Roach can release a cloud of radioactive gas as a defense. Although they are not strong fighters, Gamma Roaches can flee battle to find a stronger monster. Once they find a monster, they can pick it up and drop it off at their initial target. This makes them a constant threat whenever the irradiated effect is active. If slain, can drop some of their innards in the form of toxic paste. Ray Cat. The Ray Cat is a skeletal undead feline kept alive by its radioactive powers. Although somewhat intimidating with its green glow, this cat is passive. Ray Cats do not need to feed since they heal by absorbing radiation of other nearby creatures. But they still will gladly accept Radgills. If fed a few of these Radgills, the Ray Cat can become tamed. Tamed Ray Cats can be made to follow, stay, or wander. Although they will not defend their owner in combat, they will keep Nucleapers at a distance and occasionally absorb any irradiated effect of their owner. They can be bred with Radgills. This is for the secrets part for this cave, Tremorzilla. Staggering 500 health, 30 damage, and 10 armor. The Tremorzilla is most certainly a mythical creature, for it has yet to be observed in the flesh. This dinosaur has been enlarged and empowered to a ridiculous degree by radiation. Unlike other prehistoric reptiles, the egg of this beast can be assembled from the remains of other legendary monsters from the deepest reaches of the overworld. This glowing egg is strange in numerous ways. It does not hatch given all the time in the world, unlike other eggs. The exact way of encouraging it to open has been lost to the legends of the past, but it is likely it involves some kind of tremendous explosion. Despite the description of its fearsome appearance and strength, it appears that Tremorzilla does not harbor malice towards other living things, at least initially. It is said to be quick to anger. Tremorzilla is so large that it may even unknowingly step on lesser creatures and create ensuing conflict. When in battle, the beast uses its large claws to slash at prey and often takes huge bites with its massive maw. It can also turn and swing its tail around to inflict a devastating blow, or raise one of its feet high in the air, only for it to come slamming down. But the most feared attack of all is its beam of pure energy. This begins with the massive plates on the back of the Tremorzilla beginning to glow and irradiate green and sinking into the beast. Once all plates are active, Tremorzilla rears its colossal head back and unleashes an emanation of pure power. This beam can melt through nearly anything and reach 100 blocks in length. Due to the devastating effects of this beam and other attacks, one should attempt to befriend the Tremorzilla before it destroys them, knowingly or not. It is said that only the bravest can tame Tremorzilla, but they must feed it an item so radioactive that it is extremely dangerous to even hold. One that, if destroyed in any other way, leaves a dangerous emanation of radiation. Those that are able to ally with the beast can command it to follow, stay, and wander like its dinosaur kin. It can also be ridden and is said to give control of its devastating breath attack to its rider. Despite no living Tremorzilla being seen, they are theorized to be bred with another by consuming the most powerful explosive devices known. I have to put this in here as I came reading this. I didn't know it was possible to breed Tremorzillas. Keep that in mind. And now, finally, the utilities. The various resources of the toxic cave can be combined into a polymer plate, a highly resistant material. These polymer plates can be assembled into hazmat armor, which lowers the damage and effects of irradiated acid. Polymer plates can also be made into a remote detonator, which can activate marked explosives from elsewhere in the world. Together with a fissile core and some uranium rods, it can also be crafted into the ray gun. This ranged weapon shoots a beam of radioactive energy that damages all entities in its path extremely quickly. While each attack may only deal 1 damage, it attacks 4 times as fast as a usual weapon can. Ray guns will also inflict irradiated to their targets. They require uranium rods as fuel. The charred remains dropped by brainiacs can be used to make nuclear sirens, which produce a loud sound when a nuclear explosion is imminent in the area. These remains can also be used to create a nuclear furnace component. To assemble a nuclear furnace, place 8 components in a cube. Nuclear furnaces can smelt any items in a blast furnace. A blast furnace can 5 times as fast. Instead of burning coal, they use uranium rods as fuel. A uranium rod can smelt an entire stack of items. However, it produces some unrefined waste as a byproduct. To avoid the nuclear furnace entering criticality and exploding violently, this waste must be removed by placing metal barrels in the nuclear furnace, which will produce waste drums. Destroying these waste drums may prove to be difficult, as they can explode and leave lingering radiation. Perhaps it is best to just store them in an indefinite period instead. The most dangerous use of the toxic haze resources is the nuclear bomb. This powerful weapon will create a truly massive explosion that destroys almost all blocks in a nearby area and deals thousands of damage in inflicting irradiated 3. This kind of destruction may be the very cause of the toxic caves itself. Whew. And that is the toxic caves. Next up, the Abyssal Chasm. And this one's going to be the long one. Introduction. The Abyssal Chasm is a biome found deep in the world, but unlike other cave biomes, it's covered by hundreds of blocks of water, not stone. It is found exclusively under ocean biomes, and appears as a massive trench where light barely penetrates. The trench walls are lined with abyss marine, a stone-like block, and the abyssal floor is covered in a thick layer of muck. This muck is quite thick and slows many creatures that walk on it down. It is also where much of the benthic sea life that calls this biome home can be found, including mussels, sea anemones, and ping-pong sponges. Rising from these abyssal depths are great undersea mounds made of tuff. These can contain numerous ores, but are also covered by hydrothermal vents emanating black smoke and tube worm colonies nearby to feed off them. On the ocean floor, the skeletons of long-dead beasts, whale falls can be found, colonized by bone worms and other scavengers. Long-abandoned research posts created by an enigmatic ancient faction can also be discovered, along with far more mysterious ruins. Losing breath. Resource. Mussel can often be found growing on any solid surface in the Abyssal Chasm. Over time, they can increase in number and spread to nearby blocks. Mussel grows faster on logs than any other block. Mussels can be cooked into a decent food option too. When broken, there is a chance for a mussel to drop one of its precious pearls, which can be made into an abyssal altar, presumably to offer something to the strange beings that call the Abyssal Chasm home. Occasionally, sea glass shards can be obtained when breaking muck. These shards can be reassembled into normal glass or used to create depth glass, which allows better visibility when placed next to water. Alright, a lot of inhabitants with this one. Here we go. Lanternfish. 2 HP. The lanternfish is the smallest fish found in the Abyssal Chasm, yet it makes up for its diminutive size for the large shoals of them that spawn throughout the waters of this biome. Like a few other deep-sea species, this animal has light emanating spots on its body which help distinguish it from the dark depths. Lanternfish shoals move closer to the surface at night, making them a convenient way to find abyssal chasms. If slain, a lanternfish will drop itself and can be cooked for a meager snack. They can also be captured in a bucket of water. Sea pig. 8 HP. Sea pigs are gelatinous invertebrates found on the seafloor within the Abyssal Chasm. Slowly trudging along on their many legs, they sift through the muck to look for anything edible. Sea pigs can drop themselves if they die, and can be eaten although their flesh is poisonous. They can be captured with a bucket of water. If fed muck, a clay ball, or mud, the sea pig will begin to digest the item. They may produce a decent amount of muck or clay during this, but can also return bone meal, sea glass shards, pearls, and even marine snow. Hull breaker. No joke edits on this one. 400 HP and a staggering 14 damage. The hull breaker is a colossal fish over 15 blocks long. Being a predator adapted to hunt exclusively in dark waters, it hunts by seeking out any glowing entity. It quickly makes a kill by using its massive teeth to bite prey or its head as a battering ram to smash them. The easiest way to avoid the wandering eyes of the Hullbreaker is to stop emitting light and remove any glowing effect or entity. Hullbreakers always investigate possible prey items before attacking, circling them multiple times whilst its many body lights begin to flash rapidly. In the almost unheard of chance that one is defeated in combat, it will spew out what it has eaten before dying. This includes combat items like ink sacs, but also the remains of submarines such as the enigmatic engine, along with strange things such as immortal embryos. If a Hullbreaker is detected whilst one is in a submarine, caution must be taken to immediately turn off any and all floodlights until the beast passes. Gossamer Worm, 10 HP. Gossamer worms are large polychaete worms found swimming around the waters of the abyssal chasm. These drifting, glowing worms are a favorite treat of the Hullbreaker. Gossamer worms can be captured with a bucket of water. If slain, they can drop bioluminescence, the source of their blue glow. Tripod fish, 8 HP. The tripod fish is a bizarre fish found near the seafloors of the abyssal caves. Although they are decent swimmers, they can often be spotted resting above the seafloor on 3 large spines emerging from their fins. Tripod fish can be captured with a bucket of water, and if slain, they can drop themselves. They can be cooked for a heartier meal. These next 3 all fall into a single faction. Let's begin. Deep One, 30 HP with 3 attack. The Deep Ones are some of the most mysterious and poorly understood beings in all the overworld. There are 3 species of Deep One, and they all live in a harmonious balance with each other, forming a single synchrony society. Initially, all Deep Ones will be wary of outsiders. They will follow and stalk any intruders to their abyssal domain from the shadows, and attempt to flee if spotted or chased. If a Deep One is cornered, it will toss an ink bomb and then disappear from sight. If hurt, the opinion of the attacker for all Deep Ones will decrease permanently, and they will eventually become outright hostile to the intruder. However, improving one's standings with the Deep Ones is not too difficult. Placing a pearl on the abyssal altar near them can initiate exchange of goods, which will gradually improve their opinion. Eventually, Deep Ones may gain such a favorable opinion of adventure that they will no longer flee their gaze, and even assist in combat. In battle, Deep Ones will use their sharp claws and fast swim speed to brutally chase down and tear their prey. Along with their sharp teeth-filled maws, Deep Ones can offer a variety of items to exchange at an altar, including sponges, sea glass shards, and even a gazing pearl. Deep One Knight, 60 HP and 5 damage on base. The Deep One Knight is an even stronger species of Deep One. Like the other Deep Ones, they all share the same society and opinion of outsiders, and their approval and disapproval is all gained in the same way. Deep One Knights usually carry with them a trident or ortholance, which they will use as a weapon during melee combat with opponents. Exchanging items is done in the same manner as with other Deep One species, except that Deep One Knights offer different items, usually those revolving around melee combat. This includes their signature ortholance along with tridents, armor, prismarine, and even a magic conch. Deep One Mage. These have 80 health and 4 damage. The Deep One Mage is the 3rd species of Deep One, and distantly related to the others, yet they still fulfill an invaluable role in the Deep One society. Mages have control over powerful water magic. Like all Deep Ones, they share the same opinion of outsiders. Channeling the heart of the sea buried in their heads, these Deep Ones can summon bolts of water to pummel enemies from afar with. To voyage out of water, they can summon a bubble full of water to allow them to levitate. They can also bring forth a barrage of waves to damage multiple attackers at once. Some of the Deep One mage's attacks will trap foes in a giant bubble of water, which can drown land dwellers. Like all Deep Ones, mages have their own unique set of items they can exchange at an abyssal altar. These range from common ocean items to rare and magical ones, such as nautilus shells, bottles of enchanting, and even the sea staff itself. Mind Guardian. 20 HP, 15 damage. Mind Guardians are often difficult to see in the abyssal chasm, as they are always chained to an anchor on the sea floor, around abyssal ruins. These mechanical beings were left there long ago, likely to keep Deep Ones away. Every so often the Mind Guardians will open their single eye to scan for targets, including any nearby adventurers. If a target is detected in close range, the Mind Guardian will begin to float towards the detected target and then suddenly explode once in range. If slain before this happens, Mind Guardians can drop a death charge, which can be thrown to create a small explosion that can destroy blocks, even underwater. Alright, finally the utilities. Although individually most of the fish that swim these deep sea are not very palatable, they can be combined into a deep sea sushi roll. The marine snow produced by sea pigs can be used on dead corals to bring them back to life. It can also grow sponges and other kinds of sea life. Bioluminescence dropped by gossamer worms can be brewed into a potion of glowing. It can also be crafted into a floater, a device that allows one to reach the surface of the sea in mere seconds. Or it can be turned into some bioluminescent torches that glow even underwater. Any drowned that appear in the abyssal chasm may be wearing parts of the diving suit armor. These can also appear in chests in the abyssal ruins. The diving helmet grants 40 seconds of water breathing when worn out of water, vastly extending the period in which explorers can stay in the abyssal chasm. The chestplate has additional toughness, the leggings grant extra swim speed, the boots allow faster speed on muck blocks. The abyssal ruins can also occasionally hold a submarine. Submarines in disrepair can be fixed by using copper ingots on them, and any oxidization can be removed with an axe. Once repaired, a submarine can be piloted and even sports floodlights to improve visibility of the depths. When piloted, submarines provide a constant amount of air, making them one of the safest ways to get around in the abyssal chasm. To create an entirely new submarine will require multiple copper blocks, an enigmatic engine, and a few depth glass blocks. Simply surround the enigmatic engine with a copper cube and make sure to use 6 depth glass to mark the front of the vehicle. Abyssal ruins also make use of drain blocks, which can be crafted with depth charges. Provided there is a liquid above and empty space below when activated with redstone, this block will move all fluids above it below it, making it convenient for aquatic construction. Deep ones can exchange a large variety of items, some unique to only them. A common one is the ink bomb and glow ink bomb, which create a pool of ink when thrown that can inflict blindness and glowing respectively. The glowing variant can be useful to gain the attention of a nearby hole breaker. The gazing pearl can be a helpful novelty to keep track of the opinion held by the deep ones. It changes colors depending on their mood towards the outsider gazing upon it. The ortholance is a melee weapon that can be held down to gain a powerful charge attack. This charge will leave a trail of waves behind it, which deal additional damage. The magic conch can be blown in order to summon multiple deep ones to aid in combat, anywhere in the world. They will only linger for a short period of time, so it's best to save this for large battles. The sea staff is a magical weapon that fires magical bolts of water rapidly, which can arc towards nearby monsters. And with that, that's the Abyssal Chasm. The next two are the other ones that I haven't done yet, alongside this one. Forlorn Hollows. Here we go. Introduction. The Forlorn Hollows is an underground cavern system engulfed with pure darkness. Almost no light shines here, as the biome is unnaturally shrouded with a thick shadow. The large subterranean mammals native to the Forlorn Hollows have deposited enough guano over time for it to petrify into a kind of rock. Guano stone. Some of this has also turned into another rock, coprolith. Poking through this terrain is the occasional peering coprolith, an ever-present reminder that the many dark eyes in the dark are always watching. Strangled through the floor and the roof of the Forlorn Hollows are thornwood trees, or at least what remains of them. Although it may seem enticing to line up this gloomy place, to light up this gloomy place, care must be taken when placing light sources, as they can attract unwanted attention. All animals that live in the Forlorn Hollows have been twisted by dark influences, but some have been subjected to even darker powers. Even now, some beings there call forth even darker brethren from otherworldly shadows. Resources. The piles of guano that litter the floor of the Forlorn Caverns can be crafted into fertilizer. Fertilizer works like bone meal, except it's much stronger. It can also be used to create thornwood saplings from branches. The layers of deposited guano stone can also bear redstone ore, making the Forlorn Hollows a source of redstone at higher depths than usual. Coprolith can also contain coal ore, too. Oh, I did not know coal ore could spawn there. The inhabits. The glue moth. 4 HP. Glue moths are large, passive insects found fluttering through the darkness of the Forlorn Hollows. These bugs are prey to many of the large mammals here, and like their predators, they have also been twisted by the darkness, though nowhere near as much. Glue moths naturally seek out light sources, as it's part of how they navigate. This leads them to cluster around light-emitting blocks, such as torches. Naturally, this brings them both close to the ground and brings in plenty of nearby predators that would usually stay lurking in the dark. Although they are no threat in themselves, glue moths represent far greater danger because of the predators they can bring. If slain, they can drop moth dust. Underzealot. 20 HP, 4 damage. Underzealots are intelligent mole-like cultists found wandering the Forlorn Hollows. These hostile creatures have poor vision, so they have a naturally low detection range. However, fighting them is not easy, as after every slash from their claw, they will burrow underground and appear somewhere else nearby. Underzealots almost always appear in groups, making combat with them even more difficult. Fearing light, Underzealots will regularly break many light sources they can, including torches. But there are worse reasons to fear these stout cultists. Their rituals. When they find a glue moth, presumably one fluttering around a low-laying torch, they will attempt to run after it and catch it. If they do, they will start a ritual. A ritual will start if 3 or more other Underzealots take notice. During this ritual, an eminence of a dark power, otherworldly power, will briefly appear in this realm. It will focus all its dark energy on the hapless sacrifice, warping it into a new kind of monster. For glue moths, this new monster is the Watcher. But as mentioned prior, the Underzealots do have poor vision, and often they will attempt to pick up another flying creature that makes its home in the Forlorn Hollows. When the sacrifice is complete for this creature, an extremely powerful monster is created, one that even the Underzealots have no control of. If an underzealot is slain, it will drop some of its dark tatters that make up its robes. They can also very rarely drop a desolate dagger. The Watcher. The Watcher is a 30 HP, 40 damage. The Watcher is a monster that can be found in the Forlorn Hollows, but only appears as a result of an underzealot sacrifice of a Gloomoth. Watchers will seek out any avenger over a great distance and begin to stalk them. Occasionally they will make their presence known by possessing their target and forcing their target to see the world from the Watcher's perspective. During this possession, the target cannot move, and afterwards the Watcher's moth face will appear shortly in their vision. When the Watcher is close enough, it will quickly lash out with its sharp claws before transforming into an ethereal flying form. It will then continuously possess its target while slashing at it, making it a difficult fight. If a Watcher is slain, it will drop some dark tatters along with an occasional occult gem. Corrodent. 15 HP, 3 damage, 2 armor. Corrodants are fossorial rodents found tunneling through the walls and floors of the Forlorn Hollows. These hostile beasts will emerge when they detect prey near them and attempt to bite with their sharp front teeth. They can be difficult to fight due to their ability to easily move through almost any block. But corrodants are deathly afraid of all light, and simply placing a bright light like a torch near them will shock and scare them during this, attempting to flee. They can easily be slain. If slain, corrodants can drop some of their coarse dirt they have dug up, and possibly some corrodant teeth. Vesper. 16 HP, 3 damage. Vespers are gigantic bats, twisted by the darkness of the Forlorn Hollows. They can either be found in pursuit of Gloomoths, their favorite prey, or roosting, hanging the ceiling. These hostile bats will attack any avenger that wanders beneath them whilst roosting, and will continuously swoop in and out of the darkness to deal a nasty bite. If blocked with a shield, they will be temporarily grounded, making them easier to defeat. If slain, they can drop Vesper Wing and Guano. Vespers can also be grabbed by the resident underzealots to be used in their rituals to create a very powerful monster. Oops, did not mean to go that far. The Forsaken. Staggering 250 HP and just 6 damage in base attack. Forsaken are by far the most powerful monster to be found in the Forlorn Hollows. Although they are only created when underzealots perform a ritual on a Vesper, they are hostile towards almost anything that is not of the Forlorn Hollows, and will attempt to eat as many Gloomoths as possible. Imbued with some of the most potent dark magic, Forsaken have a vast array of attacks they use to quickly dispatch prey. This includes using their large upper arms to smash the ground beneath them, slash at prey, or even lift and bring the prey to the mouth for a killer bite. Forsaken can also emit a long-range sonic blast with incredible reach, and a short-range sonic blast that damages all hostiles in close range. These sonic blasts deal extra damage towards monsters that utilize sound, such as the Warden. When brought down to low health, the Forsaken's shadowy magical aspects have become readily apparent as it becomes pitch black, except for its red eyes. Donning this shadow state, the Forsaken will rapidly heal as long as it's out of direct light. If slain, the Forsaken will drop multitudes of pure darkness. And last but not least for this cave, the utilities. The moth dust dropped by Gloomoths can be held down to throw over a short distance. Any creature hits will become scent marked as a moth. and will be attacked by most of the nearby forlorn hollow mobs. It can also be crafted into mothballs, which can keep glue moths away from light sources when placed. The Desolate Dagger is dropped by Underzealots may seem weak based on its low damage, but after every hit, a red ghostly version of the dagger will dangle above the target. This red blade deals an additional delayed attack. The occult gem has multiple uses. It can be turned into a totem of possession, which can be bound to any creature by hitting it. Once bound, the creature can then be controlled by holding down on the totem and looking where it should move. Note that the creature should be visible for this dark magic to work. The totem only has limited durability, but any other creature the possessed one collides with will trigger it to attack. The occult gem can also be made into a beholder. Another occult gem can be bound to this block, and using it anywhere else in the world will allow one to see through the eye of the beholder. Note that it cannot be used across dimensions. The teeth of Corroding can be brewed into a haste potion, which allows for faster digging, but they can also be crafted into burrowing arrows. Burrowing arrows will chew through a mine up to 5 blocks when they land. They also pierce targets. Vesper wings can be made into Vesper stew, one of the few sources of food in the depths of the Forlorn Hollows. The pure darkness dropped by Forsaken can be fashioned into some shadow silk, a new crafting ingredient. This silk can be used to create the Dread Bow. Dread bows load arrows slower than normal bows, but when fired, a volley of multitudes of arrows will fall from above the target. If normal arrows are loaded, these will be transformed into shadowy arrows, dealing multiple attacks that appear in far greater numbers. Shadow Silk can also be used to create the Hood of Darkness and Cloak of Darkness. When both these armor pieces are worn together, a meter appears showing the current darkness power, which is increased by staying within areas devoid of light. Once this meter is full, the wearer can enter Shadow Mode, which will grant them extremely fast flight for 10 seconds. But this ability only works if they stay within the darkness. To increase the length of this effect, unnaturally, a darkened apple can be eaten while in Shadow Mode. That's all of the Forlorn. One left, and this one was added recently. The Candy Cavity. Alright, this is the last cave. Introduction. The Candy Cavity is a mysterious underground biome that defies all logic and expectation. This deeply unnatural place would be unsettling if it was not doused in sugary sweetness. Made nearly entirely out of candy, this place truly is a sight to behold. The Candy Cavity is believed to be a relatively recent addition to the overworld, likely being created as a byproduct of nefarious magical experiments carried out by its native powerful sorcerers, the Licca Witches. Inside the biome, the terrain consists primarily of blocks of chocolate, frosted blocks of chocolate, and cake layers, which make the biome feel uncannily like a large slice of layer cake. Intersecting these are plenty of roads made of rock candy and rivers of purple soda. The biome is kept surprisingly well lit for a cave biome by the presence of sun drops, magical gummy candies infused with the very power of the sun. Rainbows can often be seen arcing between sun drops. Large scoops of ice cream can be seen in piles emerging from the floor, which are complemented by a giant cones hanging from the ceiling. Also complementing this sweet atmosphere are giant candy canes, lollipops, chocolate bars, Gobstoppers, cookies, donuts, and the liquor a native tree to the candy cavity. Although this place may seem to be a walk in the park, there is more to its sweetened appearance. Resources. The large amount of chocolate found in the candy cavity can be crafted into hot chocolate bottles, which can stave off the worst effects of not sleeping, such as phantoms if consumed. The ice cream found in the candy cavities come in three flavors: vanilla, chocolate, and strawberry, sweetberry. When these blocks are broken, the resulting scoop ice cream can be thrown like snowballs. Due to them being made out of milk, a target hit by one of these scoops will have any potion effects removed. All sugary foods found inside the candy cavity have a very small chance of inflicting the sugar rush effect when consumed. This effectively slows down time for the consumer of these foods and allows them to move and attack faster for a very short period. The most effective food to eat to gain sugar rush is a sundae. Candy canes are a common resource found in the candy cavity and are used for a variety of different crafting recipes. They can be combined with frostmint, a very reactive mint block, to create frostmint spears. When these spears hit a target, they inflict it with a freezing condition, similar to powdered snow. They also deal damage in an area when on impact. Frostmint reacts explosively with purple soda, and if a falling frostmint block touches the liquid, it will explode violently. This reaction can be utilized to create purple soda rockets, which can replace the functionality of firework rockets for elytra. Now for the inhabitants. Swedish fish, 4 HP. The Swedish fish is one of many curious creatures found dwelling in the candy cavities. Although this unique fish is the only one seen to swim through the underground rivers in bottles of purple soda, like other animals in this biome, it seems to be a construct made of living candy. And just like other gelatinous creatures, it comes in multiple color variations. Swedish fish can be captured in a bucket of soda. If slain and cooked, a Swedish fish will turn into gelatin, a common crafting ingredient. Caniac. 38 HP, 2 damage. Caniac are skeletal monsters composed entirely of peppermint candy. These aggressive creatures can spawn throughout the candy cavity and will attack any adventure on sight. If far away from their targets, Caniac will lean back and then promptly leap forwards, hoping to ensnare their prey in their long cane-like arms. Alternatively, Caniacs will begin to run after their prey while swinging these cane arms of theirs around extremely quickly, dealing damage at a high rate. If slain, Caniacs will drop candy canes, one of which may even be a sharpened candy cane. This cane can make a quick weapon at a pinch, but it could also be used as a crafting ingredient. Gum Beeper. 14 HP, 4 damage, 4 armor. Gum Beepers are curious mechanical creepers that can be found patrolling the candy cavity. These bumbling machines may have low health, but they can make up for it by attacking with a barrage of bouncing gumballs. Once a gumbeeper has fired most of its gumball projectiles in the general direction, its target, it will attempt to rush towards them and explode in one final flurry of multiple gumballs. The ricocheting nature of the gumball shot by a gumbeeper often result in them upsetting other denizens of the candy cavities, which can be used to the advantage of any who fight them. If the gumbeeper is slain before its final explosion, it can drop gunpowder and a pile of gumballs. Candy corn. 30 HP, 6 damage. Candy corn are creatures that appear to be similar to the horse, albeit composed out of various different kinds of candy. Candy corn have a horn atop their heads which they use to defend themselves from any attackers. They appear in small herd within the candy cavity and are nurtural to all other creatures. Candy corns can be tamed by feeding them several caramel apples. Once tamed, a saddle can be placed on a candy corn in order to ride it. When ridden at high speeds, candy corn will slowly build up the ability to charge. Once this charge is released, their speed will massively increase and they will damage all other creatures that stand in the way. Candy corn drops sugar if slain and can be bred with candy canes. A baby candy corn will take on the color variant of one of its parents. Gumworm. This thing has a staggered 150 HP, 9 damage in principle, and 10 armor. The gumworm is a colossal creature many tens of blocks long. Made of hard candy strung together by sticky gum, this titanic creature can be found burrowing through the chocolate and cake layers that form the sediment of the candy cavity. It will occasionally surface and leap from out of the earth, which is a truly sight to behold. Although incredibly fearsome in their grinning visage, these gumworms are actually surprisingly nurtural. That said, they will not shy from a fight and are more than capable of defending themselves with a barrage of biting and leaping attacks. It is said that there is a gummy device that can be made to bring nearby gummy worms to the surface. If such a device exists, it would allow the gummy worm to be ridden and controlled by launching dual-wheel candy cane hooks towards the beast. With 2 hooks implanted in the creature, its direction can be controlled by the rider, and it can be encouraged to leap forth and deal damage in an area. If slain, gumworms can drop their sweet tooth. Caramel Cube. 4 health, 2 damage. Caramel cubes are slime-like creatures partially encased in a wrapper. These oozing monsters will hop after any adventurer who ventures to the candy cavity, and if hit, will leak some of their melting caramel nearby. These temporary caramel puddles will slow down their prey if stepped in, making it so that a large amount of caramel cubes can quickly slow down even a strong target. Caramel cubes come in a variety of sizes, each one bigger and stronger than the prior. If a caramel cube is slain, it will split into smaller cubes. The smallest of these may drop some of their caramel on death. Gummy Bear. 36 health, 4 damage. Gummy bears are animals made entirely of gelatin. These squishy bears are often found near purple soda rivers and bottles, hoping to scoop up a Swedish fish in the matching gelatin color. Although nurtural towards other creatures, gummy bears will fiercely defend any babies near them. If a gummy bear is fed any kind of potion, it will begin to enter hibernation mode. This means that the bear will fall asleep for a period of time, up to several days. Once the bear awakens, it will seek out the nearest licco root to scratch its back against. This will dislodge several jelly beans from the hide of the beast. These jelly beans will all have the same effects and duration of the potion fed to the gummy bear days prior when eaten. Gummy bears can be bred with the Swedish fish that corresponds to their color. They drop gelatin on death. Lick-a-Witch. 40 HP, 3 damage. The Lick-a-Witches are the sorcerers responsible for the creation of the candy cavity itself. Nestled with the high branches of particularly large licca roots, their towers are where all of their sweetly nefarious alchemical experiments are carried out. Lick-a-Witches are often found in groups with other Lick-a-Witches and witches, hostile to invaders. Lick-a-Witches will toss up potions of hunger at targets along with summoning both hexes on the ground and launch launching flying peppermints at their targets using their sugar staff. Each Lick-a-Witch is also capable of summoning another candy creature using a magic bottle and forcing them to do battle for them. If observed from a distance, Lick-a-Witches can be seen teleporting around and eventually preparing some sort of arcane ritual with their conversion crucibles. When defeated in battle, the Lick-a-Witches have a rare chance to drop their sweet staff, which can create hexes and launch spinning peppermints when used. They can also drop radiant essence, an ingredient imbued with the very power of biomagic. Gingerbread Man. 10 HP, 2 damage. Gingerbread men are tiny candy creatures that spawn around gingerbread towns in the candy cabinet. They can be seen running to and from their little home gingerbread houses with doors far too small for any adventure to fit them. Mischievous by nature, gingerbread men will sneak up on unsuspecting targets and pilfer any sweet candy out of their inventories. They will take any candy they find on the floor as well. This thieving nature is not all for nothing, however, because after they have stolen enough rare candy drops, they will assemble a single piece of gingerbread armor out of 9 of them in a gingerbread barrel. These rare candies include caramel apples, sundaes, gumball piles, sweet teeth candy cane, hot chocolate pumpkin pies, cookies, frostmints, sundrops, radiant essence, and more. The gingerbread armor is unique, and the lower the durability falls, the higher the speed boost of the armor gets. Care must be made not to trifle with gingerbread men too much, because despite their diminutive appearance, they can quickly dogpile larger opponents in battle. If hit, gingerbread men may lose one of their cookie limbs and drop gingerbread crumbs. And finally, the utilities. Gelatin from Swedish fish can be combined with sun drops to create rain bounce boots. These bouncing boots will negate fall damage by sending the wearer bouncing upwards on collision with the ground, while also leaving a rainbow trail behind them. A sharpened candy cane, which can be used as a weapon in its own right, can also be crafted into a candy cane hook. This device is perfect for grappling between the canyon-like cake formations of the candy cavity. It can also be dual-wielded to lessen time between grappling. The gumball piles dropped by gum beepers can be made into a shotgun, a ranged weapon that fires 2 gumball projectiles at the same time. These gumballs ricochet off of walls and hit mobs, making them perfect for crowd control. Each gumball pile used as ammunition counts as 5 separate shots. Gumball piles can also be used to craft the Gob Thumper. As soon as this block is placed into the world, it will begin to attract the attention of any nearby gumworms. If one of these gumworms is slain, the dropped sweet tooth can be made into a sack of satiating. Food items can be dragged onto the sack for it to open up and promptly devour the food, storing its hunger value inside the sack itself. When in the inventory of a hungry player, the sack of satiating will attempt to feed them automatically. Sacks of satiating can therefore be used to compress and store a nearly infinite amount of food. The crumbs obtained from gingerbread men can be used to create several interesting items like a gingerbread barrel. This storage block will be used by any gingerbread men to store items that they pick up. It can also be used to craft the powerful confection oven. When activated by redstone, this block will create a small army of gingerbread men who will attack anything that is not a gingerbread man that has the same color frosting. The color of frosting can be determined by placing a rock candy underneath the confection oven. Summoned by these ovens will pick up any items they encounter, including mob drops, and deposit them in the ginger barrels. Perhaps the most powerful secret of the candy cavity is the Licka Witch's very own conversion crucible. This powerful cauldron holds within it the magical ability to transmute one biome into another, at least in a small area. To utilize this magic power, biome trees will have to be crafted. Biome treats are a magical candy that are delicious as they are expensive. But these treats should only be consumed under specific pretexts. Biome treats are the catalysts used by the conversion crucible to determine what biome to transform Localaria to. They can be bound to a specific biome by consuming them in that biome only when completely starving. Once a biome tree is bound to a biome, it can be tossed into a conversion crucible. The crucible will then demand that block found in the desired biome are tossed into it. Finally, when a biome is almost ready to be converted, the crucible will demand a rare item found in the biome. Usually these are diamond, nether ingots, or sulfur shells, but for more extraordinary biomes, the demands can be different. Once fully satisfied, the crucible will begin to rock back and forth as its magic is worked, and the area will shift to the new biome. And with that is the entirety of the cave compendium. I hope you enjoyed it. This should give a simple understanding for this mod based on what the thing explains for all the caves available as of right now, and hopefully to many more. I am sorry this came out so late. I will try to get more uploads out going into the next year. I've been trying to experiment playing with others so that I could try making the next survival world with others, not solo. But also, I've also had a lot of other things to do that have perked out my time. I do hope to be back with more content soon. Hope you all enjoyed this Cave Compendium vid. Bye bye.